Vision IAS PT 365 Polity. This is not my official channel or what, and whatever I am explaining, it is all about my sole knowledge, and total credit and collecting, processing and distributing goes to the Vision IAS PT Vision IAS Institute. Now, in this year, simultaneously election is in news. Recently, one nation and one election is in news. Then simultaneously election also as a constitution 190th amendment bill 2020-24 has been introduced in Lok Sabha, and it will be reviewed by joint parliamentary committee. Then recently it was also news simultaneously election, one nation one election. That is a news. Maybe it is important question for the UPSC 2020-25. What is the key provision of the bill? We will discuss here. But generally in the bill, question will not asked until unless it will become act. Then whatever provision in article giving, let's analyze here. In simultaneously election, in the election commission will conduct general election in Lok Sabha and all the legislative assembly simultaneously. The term of the legislative assembly should be the full term in the Lok Sabha. The what is said, the amendment of the Article 83, it defined the unexpected term, mid-term, general election. It said that in Article 83, it dissolved full term 5 year of the state period between date and dissolution and expiry of full term shall be unexpired. Pursuant of dissolution, mid-term election shall take place. New Lok Sabha shall be constituted only in expired term. The amendment of the Article 172, it may be important article. UPSC can give the match the following article. Then what is said Article 172 is it is defined unexpired term full term of state legislative assembly. What is said Article 327, power of parliament make provision with respect to election and legislature. Maybe article is important in this article. Okay, don't focus on the bill until unless it become an act. It is not important for the UPSC examination. Then see what is about simultaneously election. If one nation and one election, popularly known as simultaneous election, mean general election held for constitution house of the people and all legislative assembly together. Okay, it doesn't mean voting across the country and all election needs to be happen in single day. Okay, this may be important point. Simultaneous election to Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha was held previously. When it need to focus this, it should be important point. 1951 to 52, 1957, 1962 and 1967. Then UPSC give trapping question. It is happen in first time. Then it should be careful that time. Okay, it was happened previously. The cycle was disrupted due to premature dissolution assembly in 1968 in the Lok Sabha election 1970. Okay, now you see bodies that is recommended the simultaneously election is 117th report of Law Commission of India 1999, National Commission for Review the Working of Constitution 2002, Parliamentary Standing Committee 2015, and Working Paper of Niti Aayog 2017. This is all about the simultaneously election for the UPSC prelims perspective. I hope you focus on the relevant point. Now, state election commission in news. Why it is in news? Because recently in Karnataka report observed that disempowerment of state election commission delay election in local government. Then we will need to focus on state election commission. What is the provision and what is that? The state election commission is autonomous constitutional authority. This state election commission for responsible for administrating election for local self-government, which include panchayati raj institution and urban local bodies. See, in 73rd and 74th Amendment Act 1992 provide the constitution of state election commission. This is very important point, basics point you have to remember. Okay, now it was recommended by Gadgil committee. This should be also important point. Then what was the constitutional provision related to a state election commission is Article 243 clause 1 and Article 243 clause ZA. It is superintendence, direction and control and preparation of electoral rolls and conduct of election to the panchayat and municipalities respectively shall be vested in election state election commission. Okay, this is important article we need to focus. Okay, Article 243 clause K clause 2, what is said like that? In state election commission, a condition of service and tenure of office of state election commission shall be determined by who? Governor. Maybe it is important point. It will be replaced by an examination president. You need to careful. He shall not be removed from the office. Who governor shall manner and grounds prescribe the removal of judge of the state high court. He can removed only by president. This is important point you should remember. State election commission can be removed only by president. It is very important point. You need to careful in the examination. Then what is function of election commission? Delimiting the constitution of local bodies election, ensure fair representative and fair election. Its electoral rolls and local bodies election, reservation of seats for SC, ST, OBC, local bodies election, authority to decide dispute related to local body election, including matter disqualification of candidate, provide advice of governor, matter related to conduct of local body election. This is all about state election commission. I hope it will help full in your revision. Now next article is delimitation commission. Why it is in news? Now in the recently Supreme Court, one of the judgment was there and one of the case was there. Kishore Chandra Changlelal Rathore case 2020-24. It's held that Constitutional Court have the power to review order of delimitation commission in order to manifest the arbitrary. News is not important. Just focus on what is delimitation commission and what is functionality of delimitation commission. Then what is about delimitation commission is a process to fixing the number of seats and boundaries of territorial constituencies in each state and Lok Sabha and legislative assemblies. This is high power body known as delimitation commission and it is also known as boundary commission. This is important point. Okay. Under the Article 82, delimitation is done such authority and such manner as a parliamentary by law to determine. In India, a delimitation commission have been constituted in 4 times. This is important, very important point. UPSC may be trapped. UPSC will tell delimitation commission have been constitution only 1 time. You need to careful about that. It is not a 1 time. It is 4 time. When it is 4 time, 1952, 1963, 1973, and 2002. And it is a statutory body. It is also important point. It is not a constitutional body. Nowhere in mentioning the constitution as about delimitation commission. And delimitation commission decision are considered final and unchangeable. It is very important point. The copies of order are laid before Lok Sabha and State Legislative Assembly concerned, but no modification and permissible therein by them. This is all about the delimitation commission. And what is composition of delimitation commission? Person who has been judge of the Supreme Court. It should be chairperson of the delimitation commission, chief election commissioner or election commissioner nominated by chief election commissioner, state election commissioner or concerned state. These all are composition of delimitation commission. I hope you like this delimitation commission. I cover all the aspect whatever giving in the PDF. Okay, let's proceed to the next article about EVM. Why in the news? Democratic Reform versus Election Commission of India 2020-24. Supreme Court dismissed request to full cross verification data for voter verifiable paper audit trial records. VVPAT. This is not a full form, may be important for Public Service Commission. Okay, but news is not important. Just focus on content. What is EVM and VVPAT? See, EVM is a portable microcontroller based instrument designed to modernizing the election process. It comes under the supplied by Election Commission by Bharat Electronics Limited under the Ministry of Defence and Electronics Corporation of India Limited under the Department of Electronic Energy. Here it should be 2 point. Which department under come Electronic Corporation of India Limited? Then you should tell Department of Atomic Energy. Goa was the first state to use VVPAT and all EVM during the 2017 Legislative Assembly. VVPAT was fully deployed in 2019 Lok Sabha and general election. Okay, now consist of 3 units like ballot unit, control unit, and VVPAT. VVPAT allow voters to verify that their votes are cast as intended. It was introduced have fullest transparency in the voting system to restore the confidence of voters by ensuring accuracy of voting system using EVM. First time journey of EVM VVPAT was in 1982 EVM first used to assembly by election in Kerala. Again 1999 Representation of People Act 1951 amend the EVM use. Again 2024 EVM 2004 EVM were adopted for general election have been used to all election. Again 2023 2019 Supreme Court rule versus Chandrababu Naidu versus the Union of India case 5 EVM per assembly constituency or assembly segment of parliamentary constitution require VVPAT verification. What is advantage of EVM? This is not important point, but we need to see okay one time. Runs battery and does not require any external power supply. Negating a scenario of an invalid vote, does not permit more than 4 votes per minute. After crossing the close button control unit, there is no possibility of voting and not a possible pre-program EVM for superiors matter. This is all about EVM and BBBT. In your Lakshmikant also given. Okay, unity focus. This is a statics concept. Okay. Now recently model code of conduct. Why in this news? Because recently MCC during the Lok Sabha election commission has recently issued directive to political parties and their representative to utilize the social media platform ethically. News is not important. Just focus on the model code of conduct. What is model code of conduct? In model code of conduct means in 1960 model code of conduct was first introduced in state assembly election in Kerala. What is nature there of model code of conduct? It set a guidelines led by who? Election Commission of India to with political parties to govern conduct of political parties and conduct free and fair election. The Election Commission derived the authority from where? Article 224, okay, which provides power to superintendence, direction, control of election, parliament, state legislature, president and vice president office. Although Constitution does not explicitly mention about the MCC, it means in Constitution nowhere mention about MCC, Model Code of Conduct. Okay, neither this is a statutory body, not a constitutional body. This is very important point. Okay, activities prohibited to MCC enforced. No policy, project, scheme can be announced that can be influence in voting behavior. Avoid advertising at cost of public exchequer. Prohibition of ad hoc appointment in government or public undertaking. Holding public meeting during the 48-hour period before our fixed clause polling. Ban of government resource like transport, machine, etc. Minister or candidate cannot sanction grants and payment for discretionary fund. This is all about MCC. Okay, what is duration of applicability? MCC operational since election schedule is announced. Its result are announced in Haryana court versus Harbhajan Singh Jalal versus Union of India case 1997. What is consequence of the violation? If anyone violated this rule, what happened? Since model of code of conduct has no statutory backing, violation cannot be prosecuted under the code. However, the Representation of India Act 1934 certain provisions are enforceable through corresponding provision of statute like BSNL or Representation of People Act. Publishing false statement about candidate character conduct is corrupt practice under the Representation of People Act 1951. Imposition of voter electoral offence under section 172 of Bharatiya Nyaya Sahinta. Now all about is giving Lok Sabha election because 2020-24 Lok Sabha is happened. Okay, this you can read in the statics book also. Now this is all about Lok Sabha. Okay, Lok Sabha is territorial representation of electoral member of Lok Sabha under the every member of legislature represent geographical area is known as constituency. From each constituency, only one representative is elected. It not more than one. Okay, hence such a constituency is known as single member constituency. In a system, which system in Lok Sabha election, candidate who secure majority of votes is declared elected. You know this point, everyone. The 5 year from date its meeting after general election, after which is automatically dissolved. However, President is authorized to dissolve the Lok Sabha at any time before completion of 5 years, and it cannot be challenged in the court of law. It can be extended during the national emergency period by law of parliament for 1 year at a time for any length of that time. However, this extension cannot continue beyond the period of 6 months after emergency has been ceased to operate. Constitutional provision of Article 3. What is constitutional provision of Lok Sabha? Article 324 to 329, which are enshrined. Part 15 deal with provision related to election. See, this article related to Article 329 Clause B Constitution before Supreme Court to limit the judicial intervention in the electoral process. This is important article. It comes in the examination. Maybe you have to remember, either you have to remember to eliminate the option also. What is said like that article? As per the article 2000, as per the article 329b, no election to the parliament, the state legislature shall be questioned except through election petition filled by prescribed law made by appropriate legislature. This is tell like that. No election and parliament or state legislature you have to question except any prescribed and appropriate legislature made a law. Unlike Supreme Court, NP Punnaswamy versus Returning Officer Namakalal Constituency versus Other 1952 case tell about that once Election Commission of India officially notify the election process, court cannot intervene in the interface. Under Representation of People Act 1951, Section 80 stated that validity of any election cannot be challenged or questioned except filing the election petition. Election petitions are filed by concerned state high court, the original jurisdiction. Appeal lies with Supreme Court of India. Election petition can be filed by any candidate or any electoral relating to election personally. Electoral means a person who is entitled to vote at the election to which election petition relates. This is all about Article 329b. Now nomination in election. You know 2024 election was there, that's why it's in news. What is nomination in election? Is it mentioned in the constitution? No, it is not mentioned in the constitution. It mentioned in the Representation of People Act 1951 contain requirement of valid nomination. To fill the nomination in the constituency, you have to require candidate for recognized political party should have one prosper, means one gawar. Candidate from independent and unrecognized party should be unscribed by 10 prosperous. Prosperous should be electorals from respective constituency. Yeah, it is correct. Section 33 Representation of People Act 1951 deal with nomination of election of the candidate and representation of valid information. Recently, Supreme Court held that election candidate have right to privacy. Regard the matter which have no concern of voter are irrelevant candidature of public life. Section 36 of Representation of People Act 1951 provides scrutiny of nomination, empower returning officer to reject nomination on grounds of defect of substantial character. This is all about nomination in election. Maybe examination we have. Otherwise, you have to know what was the nomination criteria to eliminate your option. Repolling. Election Commission of India conduct repolling Lok Sabha general election in Manipur and Arunachal Pradesh. What is provision of repolling? Under the Representation of People Act 1951, which circumstance repolling will happen? The one account of nature calamity violence due to damage of destruction of voting machine, counter mandating the election account of booth capturing, on the account of death of the candidate recognized both political party as a national party or state party. Okay, this is all about repolling. Now silence period. What is the silence period? Silence period was observed by the state when Lok Sabha election was held. What is silence period? It ban on political campaigning before the voting. Okay. It begins 48 hours before the voting day and ends with political ends. That is silent period. Under the Representation of People Act 1951 does not use to term silent period. But Section 126(1) prohibited the displaying the election matter, television of similar apparatus, propagation of election matter through the entertainment like musical concert. Section 126(1) prohibited to displaying result of opinion poll in any electronic media. This is all about silence period. Means before 48 hour in political party cannot do any type of advertisement. That is called silent period. One next article is one candidate multiple constituencies. uh, Constitution has empowered to parliament to regulate the manner of conducting election. Therefore, contesting from multiple constituencies has been dealt with representation of to pull Act 1951. I think last year, yeah, this year, this question maybe I think they asked. Yeah, now rule is all if one candidate can fight election on only maximum two Lok Sabha, yeah, two Vidhan Sabha. But under this act, there is no limit the number of constituencies candidate could contest until 1996. After 1996, what happened? Representation of People Act 1951. It allowed candidate to contest from only two seats. It was introduced through amendment of 1996, which was no bar on number of constituencies from which candidate could contest. Representation of People Act 1951, it stipulates that candidate can hold only one seat at a time, regardless of which he or she has been elected from more than one seat. If candidate wins from two seats, by election necessary from seats he vacates. That is one candidate, multiple constituencies. Home voting. Next article is home voting. Election Commission of India first time provide facilities of home voting in 2024 election. The step is lined with Election Commission motto: no voter is left behind. Now home voting is under this voting from the takes place postal ballot, involvement of full contingent of polling staff, security personnel with security voting diligentment. Beneficiaries PWD meeting with 40% benchmark. Senior citizen age is 85 years. Other step by election commission to meet voting inclusive. Ease of voting abolishing from M for Kashmiri migrant residing of Jammu and Kashmir Udhampur. This is important. Systematic voter education for electoral participation. To engage the PW also sensitize their friends, families, and polling officials. UPSC will ask sweep is related to ask. They will give health care, election, political like that. Then you need to aware about it. What is sweep? Proper multiple constituency remote election voting machine. It would be enabled to migrant voter to exercise their vote from their current place of residence. Postal ballot. It allows voters to being sent by post. uh, Special voters, service voters, voters of election duty, electoral subject, preventive detention. Proxy voting. It allowed to register electoral to delegate his voting right, the representative he nominate available for service voter. Who is service voter included? This is important question. Member of armed force, person who employed under the government of India in the post outside India, member of police force state who is serving the outside state, member of force which arm act 1950 is applicable. That is service voter in India. Next article is Form 17C. Election Commission of India told Supreme Court that rules do not permit sharing Form 70C data with any entity apart from polling officer. Maybe important question UPSC will ask Form 70C is related to what? Election Commission, health, agriculture like that. Then you need to focus on Form 70C is related to um, no, Election Commission of India. It associated with direction under the Conduct of Election Rule 1991. It provide information related to number of eligible voter assigned to both electoral register to voters, voters who decided to exercise their franchise, voters not allowed to vote. Second part of the contains information like same the candidate total voter they received. Now next one is barely signage. Election Department of Pondicherry will provide barely signage English of Tamil electronic voting machine in 1967. It will enable visually impaired and blind voter to participate independently and confidently in the electoral process. However, if electoral desire, he and she will allowed to bring compensation as provided in the Rule 49 of the Conduct of Election Rule 1961. That is all about the first part of the Polity Vision Act 365. Stay tuned with me. I will be as soon as possible. I will be come with your second part also, and second part I will cover next thing. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please share and subscribe my YouTube channel. Okay, I hope it will be helpful. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching this video. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.